Hey guys, it's Gaz. Welcome to the Warframe video. So today I'll be discussing the Nyx rework that happened a few days ago on PC, and giving my opinions on it, also the builds I find most effective after this new rework. So a few things to keep in mind. So Nyx's role in the game is a soft crowd control frame with some very light debuffing capabilities. The best playstyle for her I found is still her old build based around the Assimilate augment mod, but she does have some new stuff added to her kit, like the ability to remove enemy armor and shields. However, there is a small problem with that. DE nerfed that ability before it even came out because it used to be able to affect a bunch of enemies, and now it can only affect, I think it's 6 enemies total before you have to wait for those enemies to die and then recast it, or wait for the duration to end. So, yeah, the rework didn't do as much for her as I was hoping for. As a person who really liked Nyx, I was hoping this would be like, it would really push her into the meta of like frames you'd want to use all the time, but I don't really see that here. Sadly, Nyx was my first Prime Warframe ever in this game. The artwork for Nyx Prime is what got me into playing this game, actually. So she has a special place in my heart as being like one of my favorite frames in the game, even when she's not super viable. Okay, so that's why I'm going to be pretty critical on this review of her rework, and yeah, hopefully maybe some tweaks happen in the future to make her a little bit better to play. I'd say that removing the cap on her second ability, like the armor removal, would be a really big step forward, and it would make her a lot less clunky to play. Okay, so some changes that were made to her is basically her first ability. Like what happened to her first ability is it has this new ability on it where if you mind control an enemy with it, it will allow you to stack some damage up on them. So let's look at the buff bar next to the cat icon at the top right. I'm going to mind control this guy, and then see it says 0. I'm shooting him. It's going up and up and up, and now he has 395% increased damage while he is mind controlled by me. So I can shoot him some more, get enough damage to kill him, and I can use the first ability again to end the duration and deal that damage to him that he stored up during the duration of him being mind controlled. So usually when you mind control an enemy and they're at a normal level, they're going to die after you deactivate it. So yeah, that's like pretty nice. The problem with the first ability and like all mind control type abilities in this game is that the enemy AI sometimes doesn't do what you really want it to. It kind of acts as like a bodyguard sometimes, where it will like run over to you and then start shooting enemies that are kind of close to you, which is really its biggest downfall. So you can get some pretty hilarious situations with this ability. That's actually, we don't need invincibility here, but I'm just going to put it on just for convenience sake. So I'm going to mind control this guy, load him up with some damage. Alright, now he does 331% damage. We're going to remove the armor from these guys. So now our mind control enemy does a bunch, and they have no armor. So, as you can see, like, it should be using its gun for like maximum damage, but it's just punching them right now. That's one of the really big downfalls of this ability. Look how dumb this thing is. And it keeps getting staggered by the impact procs. Like, this is unfortunate right here. Remove their armor again. Yeah, the AI is just really dumb. And it's too bad because, like, I'm thinking, like, hey, like, we can load it with a bunch of damage. Like, if I was to use my kit gun there to load it up with damage, it would be a lot crazier. So let's try it again. Alright, we're getting about 1100% damage now when we use the kit gun. So now it's going to shred these guys, but attacking them in the first place is a problem. So we can just kill her now. And honestly, that ability is much better than it was before, so don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not complaining about the buffs. It's just the AI is holding it back, but that's just a symptom of the game. Alright, so we showed her second ability, removing their armor, a couple times there. If it's affecting an enemy and they're still alive, you can't actually recast it, which is like another big downfall of this ability. So see, they're all affected by it. I can't cast it again. See, it says ability in use. Even if there were more enemies to target, I would not be able to target them until the duration ran out, or those guys died. Okay, her third ability is not changed, the Chaos, so all the enemies in the radius that you have modded for will be affected by basically a radiation status effect, so they will attack their allies and you indiscriminately, so they're just going to like attack everyone. If I was to walk over here, they would shoot me too, so it's not them just attacking their allies. They will also attack you and your teammates as well. So, yeah, it's not like a hard crowd control. It's like a very soft crowd control where they're like sometimes not targeting you, but most of the time it's not gonna like really save your butt in a lot of situations. It usually just slows the enemies down because they'll stop running towards the objective or whatever and just start attacking their teammates. And then the change that happened to the fourth ability is not really major, but basically it used to do magnetic damage at base, but now it will adapt its damage type to whatever the enemies are shooting you with. So if enemies are shooting you with magnetic and like blast damage, for example, random elements, you will release the explosion in magnetic and blast damage, and it scales up the more they shoot you, okay? So let's show the build I'm using right now. So one thing that did change with my old build and this one is I actually have added some power strength. I also removed overextended from the build. So we still want a lot of range so we can affect a huge area with our chaos, but we do want some power strength so we can boost up the resistance removal from our second ability. And it's really unfortunate because you actually need 125% power strength to get 100% armor removal, and look at how much power strength Augur Secrets gives you. 24%. So that is a big oof right there. This will give us 99% armor removal. So if we want the extra 100, or if we want the extra 1% to get to 100, we need to run an Intensify. You could run a rank 4 Intensify if you really wanted to, but I didn't really feel like leveling one of those just for this purpose. I might do that in the future, to be honest. So yeah, if you were to max out all these mods, you'd probably need to put one Forma on here, and the Forma I would suggest is probably just a dash, because you're usually going to always use stretch mod in her. So get an extra 4 points, you can rank these up all the way, no problemo. Yeah, so this is it. If we were to run Augur Secrets instead of Intensify, we would be getting 99% armor removal, like I mentioned. The other abilities aren't really affected by power strength at all. I was hoping that the damage bonus from Mind Control would be affected by power strength, but that's not the case. Absorb gets slightly more damage with power strength. I don't really care about the damage of Absorb, to be completely honest. And we are running the Assimilate Augment mod. So what this does is it lets you walk around in your Assimilate, or in your Absorb. So that's basically equating to invincibility while you are walking around, and you can attack. You can use your abilities and attack while you're invincible. It's pretty awesome, and it also makes her a really good melee frame for some things I'm going to be showing you in a second. Okay, so something you can like. So here's the base. So here's me using my fourth ability, the Absorb. This is how fast you move. You can't roll, you can't jump, you can shoot your gun, you can attack things with your melee. It's pretty slow, to be honest. So we need to deactivate this to start jumping again. But I actually have a nice little strategy for you guys where you have to use a couple of specific stances for melee. So the stances we'll be utilizing here is we'll be utilizing the Final Harbinger stance for sword and shield, and we'll also be using the, I believe it's Tempo Royale stance for heavy blades. So this one and then Final Harbinger. So the reason we're using these is because they have some actual mobility in the stance itself, which allows you to move pretty fast as Nyx in her Assimilate. So I'm going to use this ability. I can't jump, can't roll, but I can do this, where I use my melee to cover a big distance if I use the correct combos. So this is the hold combo for Tempo Royale. I'm just using the first 2 attacks, basically, and this will let me cover a good amount of ground, while also being completely invincible to damage. Okay, so we can use that with Tempo Royale if we wanted to, but I actually do find Final Harbinger to be more effective. Like any sword and shield will do. Sylvan Aegis Prime is usually one that a lot of people have, and that is a really good sword and shield for Condition Overload. We're using Sigma Noctanus. This is the login reward. So here's the same thing. So we hit the button twice and we jump around. And you can actually go pretty fast in missions with this. Unfortunately, like, you will probably want to be using something like this if you want to stay invincible for a long period of time, but honestly, it is pretty worth it. The fact that enemies can't really kill you while you're doing this, and you can kill them, is very nice. So yeah, that's going to be it for the build. Let's go into a mission so we can see how this actually works out. Let's grab the cat. Let's go to a Kuva Flood. Get some pretty decent level enemies up in here. Okay, relay. So yeah, guys, I hope that you are having a nice holiday season. I believe this build will be basically the same throughout the rest of the year. I mean, there's only like a couple more days left in the year, but yeah, I don't, unless DE buffs her some more, I really don't see the build changing too much. You want a little bit of power strength if you want to go for the armor removal. You don't need the armor removal, but I do consider it nice. If it's frickin' whatever his name, the Ambulus, I'm not doing that. I do not like Ambulus. Okay, it's Hive. That's not too bad. Okay, so yeah, if you're mind controlling an enemy, I've tested a good amount of weapons, but it seems like the kit guns are probably some of the best DPS you can unload on that mind controlled enemy to boost their damage. So maybe like build like a catch moon with Haymaker and Splat and just try it out. I was using the Rubico Prime. I wasn't getting as high of damage numbers as my kit gun, so it might just not be as good. I also used the Tigress Prime. It was a lot lower than my kit gun. Also, whoa! I tried the Stun Wraith too. Stun Wraith was pretty good. I think the Stun Wraith is actually better than the Tigress Prime for loading that damage. Okay, so you don't normally use Nyx for Hive missions, but you know, we'll try it out. I really missed one? I did. That is a big Nyx illusion, by the way. Alright, so now we are invincible. Enemies can't really do anything to us. We'll put our melee stance on, cover some ground quickly. There's the Siphon.
Those are the Queen's braids. What are they up to?
Let's mind control this guy. Alright, we gave him 100% extra damage. So yeah, another thing about her Assimilate ability and like Absorb in general is like as you take damage, you start draining energy faster and faster. So you need to be really careful, because you can just like randomly die if you're not paying attention to your energy bar. So something like Arcane Energize is going to really help you here, but that's not easily accessible by basically all of the player base. So you got to be pretty careful with your energy, especially going to be casting your other abilities. And she is a caster frame, so you're going to want to be casting a lot. Alright, so should be some more enemies spawning from the Siphon. Oh, I got the cat buff. Alright, I need to make sure I don't die, so I keep that cat buff. Get that double Kuva.
Use your operator form to strike those Kuva.
We're hanging out around 100 energy right now. We're going to need to be careful we don't run out, or we could die. We should keep the enemies busy with each other so they can just attack each other instead of me. Basically one stray bullet right now and I'm dead. Alright. Not a lot of enemies are spawning, so I guess that's good for us.
That worked.
Yeah, unfortunately like this, she's really not feeling as good as I wanted her to feel. I was hoping she would become like a very like good frame in the meta of the game. But as it stands right now, you mostly just want like kill frames currently, and she's not exactly a kill frame. CC is like not as useful anymore now that raids are out of the game, in my opinion. You can still use CC for like interception and stuff, and it will be somewhat useful. But yeah, raids were like the reason that CC was useful in raids is because you actually didn't want to kill the enemies because they'd keep scaling up higher and higher level, and just the way that raids were played, you didn't actually want enemies respawning all the time because there was no reason to keep killing enemies. And especially like if you killed a bunch of enemies, they would be CC enemies that would spawn with like the grappling hooks or whatever that would pull you off of your button to progress the raid. So yeah, that was when like CC was nice. Nyx was used for a short period of time in raids, but it was mostly all about that Vauban. Now that raids are removed, Vauban is pretty underutilized, and Nyx is in a similar boat. But I do still like Nyx. Where's that last thingy? I haven't done these Hive missions for a bit. I used to farm these all the time for Shell Shock. Oh my gosh. That's a catch moon for you. Can you attack somebody else? You? Alright, we got it.
All nodes destroyed. The Hive is vulnerable.
Cool. I'm not going to be going for the caches right now. So yeah, they're attacking each other, they're not attacking me there, so that was nice. Doesn't always happen like that. I've had a chaos enemy just immediately target me out of nowhere, like as I'm running past him. So
You are approaching
AI,
a
like, don't
hive.
depend on it to
Every
stay alive
hive
all the
is
time.
protected by a series
It mostly
of
just slows
fever
enemies
nodes.
down, if you ask me.
Destroy those, and you can destroy the hive.
Current none over there. And the catch moon, like, it just feels awkward to shoot. It has really good damage, so the damage is there. It's just like the fact you can't have like a railing near anything. I'm honestly surprised we hit that, to be completely honest. I thought we were gonna like have the shot fail there. I thought we could hit that one. There we go, hitting it right in the sweet spot. All right, cool. So there we go. There wasn't that many combat situations in here, but Nyx isn't really a combat frame. She's more of like a crowd control frame, like I've mentioned a few times. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Also, like, as far as her second ability goes here, like, there's not a lot of enemies with armor, but, I mean, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. Like, her second ability is much better now, and, like, a lot more useful now than it was before, but like I've mentioned a few times, like, I just wish that it was better. The fact that it only can affect 6 enemies at once feels kind of bad. Okay, so I hope you guys found this video helpful and enjoyable. I didn't really use the melee to like use mobility there too much, but if you're getting like a longer mission or like some kind of like survival mission, whatever, using melee stances for mobility is really nice with Assimilate. I didn't show Mind Freak there either, but it's kind of hard to showcase because the AI is kind of dumb most of the time. So yeah, if you want to use Mind Freak, you can actually just replace Streamline on the build that I have, and you can just put Mind Control or Mind Freak in that slot, and it will make your mind controlled target actually deal like 5x damage, I think it is. Yeah, so you just throw that there. I'd still keep Assimilate on the build, but just remember that if you're taking Streamline off, you're going to have a lot worse efficiency. So you might actually want to just take Stretch off in that case, if you really want to run Assimilate and Mind Freak at the same time. Okay, guys, so you guys have a nice night and all that stuff. I'll be streaming on Twitch today, twitch.tv/gaz_ttv. And yeah, Nyx is very mediocre still, not in the meta at all. So yeah, you guys have a nice night. Peace.